Gambia Participated Civil Society Organization has published its report on the government 2020 COVID-19 food aid. The report, which featured more than 1,000 households that benefited from the relief packages delivered in 2020, found that by and large, close to 85% of Gambians' households received the food aid. Yahya Jammeh tells us more of that in this report.
In April 2020, the government of the Gambia created a food aid relief package at the cost of over $700 million to support families that lost their source of living due to some regulations imposed by the state as a result of the pandemic. However, there have been numerous complaints from Gambians on whether this colossal sum of money was actually all used for the purchase of the said commodities. But most of the criticism of the package was on the manner in which the food distribution was carried out. Gambia Participates is a youth-led civil society organization that focuses on enhancing transparency and accountability in public sector. It went its way to conduct an investigation on the procurement, transportation and distribution of the food aid across the country, involving over 1,000 households. That report on that investigation has now been released. Yusuf Taylor, commonly known as Flexdan, who is part of the publicity of this report, explains what triggered the investigations on the government's COVID-19 food aid relief.
But with regards to the report, what necessitated it is because of the short period in which the procurement was done and the distribution. Within 96 hours, everything was procured and distributed. So that immediately raised concerns. From the beginning, a lot of the procurement regulations were put aside because of emergency. And that is what really triggered the investigation. And not only that, to see the food that was distributed, they said it's for the vulnerable people, those who are the poorest, those who don't have, those who need.
With regards to the way it was conducted, Mr. Taylor went further to explain the imbalances caused different beneficiaries with different wages.
So what you found is that the report looks at those people who were talked to. About 1,176 heads of households were interviewed in the report, 1,176. And when you look at those guys that were interviewed, most of them you will see that the different wage brackets which they have, you have all of them organized in different wage brackets, some earning less than 1,000, some earning between 1,000 and 5,000. And when you look at the food, you identify those who received most of it. A lot of it went to between those who had $1,000 and $500 monthly income, when one would have been expecting that most of the food would go to actually those who were earning a little bit less than 1,000.
Mr. Taylor said the report is important, especially to the government, to be able to do well in procurement activities should another pandemic surface.
What this aims to address, first of all, is it tries to look at the emergency regulations and procedures. Because Gambia as a country, this is the first time that we've had to respond to a pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, which is clearly one of the first that we've ever had to respond to. And because of that, a lot of the procurement regulations were put aside. Procurement regulations are there to ensure that we have value for money, that whatever it is that we're going to procure is going to give value back. So this report identifies how make sure that government can bring in procurement, emergency procurement regulations, that even in case where another virus comes and is attacking the Gambian population, there will be some emergency regulations for procurement, which will be a little bit relaxed than the normal. Of course, that's expected.
The report also found out that 30% of those interviewed thought there was corruption in the distribution process. Another 30% said they don't know if there was corruption, and a third 30% said they have not seen any corruption. With regards to the receiving of the food aid, the report reveals that 85% of the households interviewed said they received the food aid, with about 15% saying that they did not receive. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Yahya Jammeh.